I've done this 1,000 times and it never gets old. This is something fun to do when you don't feel like painting something, but you want to paint. I'm going to do mine front and back just so it'll fit in the notebook. So the second one is going to be popcorn salt. And the third one is going to be table salt. The fourth one is going to be kosher salt. So what have we got? Lifting.
You're getting more and more coarse.
Coarser and coarser. Coarser and coarser.
Coarser and coarser. So I've got lifting, popcorn salt,
Table salt.
And kosher salt.
plastic wrap, and wax paper are the next two.
Table salt. Plastic wrap.
And then the sixth one is wax paper.
Wax paper.
If I turn this over, do 6 more.
Oh, we just taped it down.
Well,
Too late.
that's all right. You can untape it. We're going to dry it and untape it when we do the other side. How's that sound?
Popcorn, table, kosher.
Plastic wrap and wax paper.
That's 6.
That's the first 6. All right, the next 6. Are you ready? Water spatter. Water spatter. Alcohol drip. That's what I need after some classes.
Wine drink.
Sanding is number 9.
Sand.
What was number 9 again? I missed that after alcohol.
Sanding.
Sanding, yes, okay. After the glass of wine, got it.
Got it. Okay, yeah, don't sand after your alcohol drip. Somebody could get hurt. Okay.
Got it.
So I'm gonna just tape mine down so that y'all can see it a little better, instead of being confused by the X's and all of that stuff. So pick your colors. Your colors ought to be juiced up. Juicy. Mine are juicy because I keep putting my sponge in there and closing the lid, and it's keeping them nice and wet.
Yeah.
I'm guessing at some point they'll start to mold, but that hadn't happened yet. I did hear that if you put a drop of vinegar or a penny in your palette, that it wouldn't mold. I don't know.
So do you want like a mixture of pure, like just blue, and then how many colors do you want?
Let's do, just for fun, let's do a variegated wash of milk consistency. So you're going to pick 2 or 3 colors, and you're going to mix up 2 or 3 milk puddles. keeping in mind that if you do ultramarine blue and or burnt sienna, they're granular, so you'll have to stir them up every time you go back in there. Okay. All right, so I've got those. Now let me mix up some paint with you guys. And this, I think, calls for the number 6 brush. What do you guys, number 8 rather, the smaller brush. Now we're lifting, so that means if we use ultramarine or the burnt sienna, it's going to lift pretty nicely. We'll get almost back to white. If we use the phthalo blue or the phthalo green, they're stainers, remember?
Mm-hmm.
So we won't get all the way back to white when we go to lift. We can lift some of it off, but if your expectation is to get back to white, that's not going to happen. A little bit of water, a little bit of water. All right, so what colors are we gonna pick, y'all? Let's do red.
What consistency did you say?
Milk.
And like, how much do we need?
Well, it depends. If you like these colors, you could keep on going with it. You could do like on thing with ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, save that one.
Mm-hmm.
Just- Why not?
Well, then you can see the difference. Right?
Yeah. Start putting your one color down and then dropping some of the other color in so that they mingle, whichever you prefer. Now I'm going to come around and see.
And this one
Oh,
more?
you're mixed. Yeah, that's good.
You want them together?
Yes, not together in there, together on here.
Okay.
Yeah, I want you to put one down and then put the other one down so that it touches it and they start to mingle. Yeah, there you go.
Well, that's like my purple.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. Okay. Good job. You can add some colors. There you go, Lana. Just drop those colors down there. Okay. And now you got orange. Alright, that looks good. Okay, now we are going to take our brush, once you get that circle painted, you're gonna take your brush, dip it in clean water. And watch me, guys. You're gonna dip it in clean water. You're gonna clean it off with your paper towel. And then you're going to go through what you painted, and it will lift some of that paint off.
So here are gonna
If it's too wet still, the paint will flow back into the river that you just created.
Right.
That's what it's doing down here because this is wet. This was a little bit drier.
Can you repeat those instructions
Yes.
again?
Once you get your circle painted and you let the paint kind of settle in a little bit, you're going to clean your brush in clean water, and then you're going to dry it on your paper towel like this. And then you're going to take it and press down and pull it through the wet paint. If it's really wet, the paint will flow back into what you just created. If it started to dry, it'll stay light like I've got right here. I don't know if y'all can see that or not.
some weird things and ended up working out. So I hope it works for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Smash a thumbs up if it does. Show some love. Think it's gonna work on.
And do it a couple of times because you'll notice as it dries, you're
I
li-
really hope this video helps you out. This is my only time doing this kind of video. I only do gaming videos.
and it's just so you guys are learning how it lifts depending on how dry the paint is. Does that make sense?
OBS, there's OBS Columbia
Yes, do
Studios
we go
and
over the
the
same
Spring
place
Metro
where
Music
You can go over the same place,
Or-
you can do it in a different spot.
So let me take you through the process
paint have to
of
be
what I
wet
did, and
to do
hopefully
this?
one
It,
of these.
it depends on what you're going for. Like I'm doing it over here on the dry side, cause I do want it to lift.
First thing that really
If it,
helped me,
if I did it over
when
here
I
on the
was doing
wet
my
side where it's puddling a little bit,
I was only
watch,
getting
it's not gonna do anything, it's just gonna flow back into what I
right
did.
here, I went up to
Because
settings,
it's,
and this right here, delete and
and then we're
restart.
gonna come back to this one in a little while and do something else to it, but this shows you how to lift
Personally, I did not lose
when
my
the
soul.
paint is damp.
Still remains.
And the good thing about this is you're creating a soft edge at the same time.
And see what that brings you up to.
You're creating a
After I
nice
did that,
little
I jumped from 40 to about 50.
transition from paint to,
Two.
a little lighter.
Okay, so there. So you can do that.
All right,
I'll
so I'm
show
gonna
you
leave
guys
that
my
alone.
output in-
And we're gonna move on to popcorn salt. And you can do the same colors, or you can use different colors. Let's go ahead and do another variegated wash, which is exactly what we did with this one. So you can either wet your whole circle and start dropping in your color, or you can just take color, drop it in, and then add some more to it, whichever you prefer. I'm going to put down some yellow. I'm just slapping it on there. Clean my brush so I don't contaminate my red. Now I'm fully loading my brush with the red, fully loaded, and now I'm going to drop that color in. And you can turn and tilt so that they kind of run together a little bit. Keep in mind, the outside of your circle is dry, so it's not going to run outside of the circle unless you practically turned your paper upside down. It's going to stay within the dry boundary. Okay. While y'all are doing that, I'm going to be busting out some popcorn salt for you. Whoops, that's kosher salt. Doesn't take much. And then put it in when the paint starts to settle into the paper just a little bit. It's not super shiny wet. It's just started to glisten instead of shine. Drop some popcorn salt in there.
I'm pretty salty.
Huh?
I'm pretty.
It's pretty salty.
Yeah. Well, I like salt in my popcorn.
That was too dry.
Now my old water, the best time to do salt, if you're not too far away from your kitchen, is to say, salt might look good in there. And by the time you run in the kitchen and get it and come back,
It's dry.
it's,
Dry.
it's at the sweet spot. But her kitchen was closer than my
Hey,
kitchen.
some people are faster than others.
Now, don't worry if it's dry and the salt didn't do anything. Don't worry about it.
Do we put this on?
Yeah, if it's, yeah, not yet. No,
Oh,
not
no,
the table salt.
Not till the next.
Now I'm giving you table salt. Don't do anything with it yet.
Okay.
Does everybody have some table salt? Okay.
Oh, my.
Is she in a nursing home, Lana?
Oh, yes. That's where she got it.
Did they start allowing visitors?
Pardon me?
Did they start allowing visitors?
No,
No.
no. This is North Carolina. She's in North Carolina.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, now I'm gonna let that set because I put a lot of paint on there and I can see it's still shiny wet.
Yeah, but it's universal skilled nursing care. I gotta do.
Room, Lana, so you can have
Pardon
some
me?
privacy. Go in the other room so you can have a little bit of privacy. Okay, see that is still, can y'all tell that's still shiny wet? Gotta let it wait, I gotta
Go to the
wait.
kitchen.
Yeah, I need to go in the kitchen and get a cup of coffee real quick, so. Crystals down here now, it would make an effect. It would be a little bit different than if I wait. So if you wanna see, we could put some crystals on the wet side first,
Well,
let it dry a little while, and then put some more crystals on. Let's try that.
computer, as I mentioned.
So I'm gonna put some crystals along this wet edge,
Description, so
salt crystals,
I have a challenge for all of you. Go to every computer in your
and I'm
house.
gonna wait.
Your dad, your sister, your brother's computer, and install Honey. Wait, Mom, before you check out. do you
It's
have
really
Honey
wet.
installed?
Maybe I'll sop up a little bit while I'm sitting here. How's it going, Bob?
Are you new to OBS?
Inside.
You're probably wondering what is going on.
Well, the video's working, but it's not sending the stream out fast enough.
Mhm. Okay. The shine is starting to leave. I'm gonna wait for a little while longer. I'm going into the kitchen. Coffee.
alright, me and Balto here are gonna show you guys how to increase your frames per second, what maybe
Okay.
I don't know much about
Put some more
computers. I watched
down.
a lot of videos and did some weird things and ended up working out. So I hope it works for you guys. I feel it will.
So
Smash
just
thumbs up
when
if it
that
does, show some
shine
love.
starts
Give it some work, Balto.
Just, and you can tell, you'll know when it starts to leave. And it starts to glisten instead of shine.
Thanks for watching. I'm gonna show you how
Whatever
to
two
make
colors make you happy. Send up a little prayer for Lana's mother. I hope this isn't bad
Before I
news.
show you this, please leave a like and a sub down below if this helps you out at all. And watch till the end to see the giveaway I'm doing also. So go to Streamlabs settings and go to the video section. Here set the base resolution to the native monitor mode. And respond to in the comments if you will. Just have a good one and hopefully see you guys in the next one.
Okay. I'm gonna start with my yellow, a fully loaded brush. I'm gonna put down some yellow,
Then don't stream. Thanks for watching. No, I'm just kidding.
clean my brush out,
Stream work best for you.
and then I'm gonna drop in some red.
Please leave a like and a sub down below if this helped you out at all. And watch till the end to see the giveaway I'm doing also. So go to Streamlabs settings and go to the video section.
So you painting
Here
over
set
the
the base
yellow?
resolution to the native monitor
Sometimes.
resolution. So I'm using a 1080p monitor, so I'm just gonna leave it.
Sometimes right up next to it, sometimes on top of
And
it.
then just for testing.
And I could drop some yellow into this red.
20p.
Let's see what happens when I do that. I'm gonna clean my brush out, dry it off,
Screen.
pick up some yellow, and I'm just gonna drop it in the red.
Bandwidth needed to stream and making.
And it kinda makes a little amoeba or something.
If you don't know about your bandwidth, go to speedtest.net
Okay.
and just click the go button and check to see how good or crappy.
Gotta
your
wait.
bandwidth is.
I'm gonna sock some of it up so I don't have to
Down
wait this
below for
long.
you guys, so you guys can just click on it and
So if you have a big puddle on one side like I do, because I'm thinking my thing's bowed, you're gonna clean your brush, dry it off with your paper towel, and then just set it down in the little puddle and sop up some of the paint.
better in the crappy connection.
Does that make
If you have
sense?
6 megabytes per second or higher of upload speed, then you should be able to output the stream to 1080p. If not, just keep below the 1080p mark around
Okay.
720 per frame.
Now,
Jumping back over to
I'm
stream
gonna
settings,
put a little
download
kosher
back
salt
to
in
your
here.
bicubic, or if your connection is absolute crap and you want it to perform the best, change it to bilinear for the best chances of it working good. Then next go to the advanced tab on the left.
You can see it's sucking that paint up.
Process priority to above normal. Then in the output tab, change the output mode to advanced.
So none of these we can do anything else with until they're dry. That's why I did those very first ones. Because when you use salt, you can't really blow dry. It kind of messes up the effect, and the salt goes everywhere, and it's just let it dry naturally, okay? Take my word for it.
Almost done here.
So the next one we're going to do is plastic wrap,
Which stands for controlled bit rate.
and I'll bring this around, little piece. It doesn't take much because our circle's not that
Whatever your
big.
connection can handle.
Plastic wrap, this makes a
5 megabytes per second.
beautiful
Or upload,
effect
set it to
if you're
3500
trying to do rocks or water.
If you got less than that, drop that number
You
down
go
between
crazy with this
probably
one. It's
2500
really pretty.
or 2000. if it's still struggling. Underneath that, set the profile to main, and now you can finally close settings.
It's a great way to.
So other things you can do besides making sure you have all the right settings to stream is to make it
looks like
as
a
fast as
water effect
possible
to a blue and a
for
green.
upload and download, because Wi-Fi is not that very fast. Then also cleaning your PC and speeding up for free also helps if you would like more on that and making your computer run faster. I got a video right here on how to do that. So the giveaway we're doing this month is for 5 Steam game keys. It's 3,500 or 4,000. If you got less than that, drop that number down between probably 2,500 or 2,000 if it's still struggling. Underneath that, set the profile to main.
Are y'all gonna do blue and green, or do you wanna stick, I'm just gonna, you are? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I wanna stick to. I
So go to
think it's the same
Streamlabs
thing,
settings
so then I have
and
that.
go to the video section.
So all my, if I want to these are the same, then I gotta,
To the native
you know,
monitor.
base-
Gotcha, okay,
So
so
I'm
yeah,
using
that's probably a good
native
idea.
monitor, so I'm just gonna
Cause then you can see the true effects.
Right, without color.
Without being-
color.
Or
Yeah.
if you want to just lower to 720p, really good
I
option versus
apologize, I couldn't get through to whoever was calling.
Oh, that's all right, we were just hoping it wasn't bad news,
I
Lana.
know, but they can't find who was calling me.
Oh,
There's one that may be, it's a social worker, but hey, she's in a meeting. Oh, no.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and
Sorry, that's
ESPN
not
Plus
funny.
now bundled together. The
Okay.
greatest stories and characters.
we
the
will of
largest
course make
streaming
an
TV
exception,
library.
cause,
Because you're awesome.
no, cause your mom's sick.
Hi
This
guys
is
and girls, and
important.
welcome back to Dr. Dave. So today we're going to be talking about dropped
Okay,
frames,
and now
skipped
on-
frames, lag.
You're on
within
kosher
OBS,
salt, so you're gonna do the same thing we've been
Streamlabs.
doing, a little variegated
So-
wash,
Okay.
The easiest
and then you're
option
gonna sprinkle a little bit of that
to
kosher salt.
help with
Fine.
stutter, etc., is this little pop-up down the bottom.
I talked to
Make
my
sure you've
husband.
turned anything off that you
That's
don't
okay.
need running. And you can also go into your task manager and turn off anything in there that is running that you don't need. Because all the time that you've got things open in this window that you don't need open, they're using resources from your computer.
And you can turn,
So another little thing is down here on this little graph, you can see that my
I am
CPU
noticing that that yellow dries a lot
average
faster than the
is
red.
in the 2.7 to 4.4%
Okay.
of CPU usage. That's just
Now,
running
again, kinda wait for the
OBS.
shine to go
That's
just a
Streamlabs
little bit
OBS,
off,
obviously.
and then
This is
take
just
your
running
wrap
it.
and
This
crinkle it
isn't
up.
streaming, I haven't got a game going or anything yet. So
You can lay it down
that's the
on there
little-
and pat
that's
it
the little
down,
graph.
or you can kind of
Another
pull
thing
it
that
if you
can
want
do
to.
is
I
go
just like to
to
lay it and pat it
settings,
and leave it.
And then within settings, you're going to go to
And then just
stream.
leave it.
Nope, sorry. You're going to go to output.
If I were doing a bigger piece, I might pull it and stretch it a little bit
If
in
you are running a
direction.
graphics card, you should.
Well, you know, you can, or you can just
should
sprinkle it up on
be
here, if you
using
can like,
the new NVENC encoder. People
There.
go, oh, you're putting a load on your graphics card. No, you are not. This
just
is a
a, yeah,
separate
until
part of
it
the
starts to
graphics card
glisten and not
that's
shine.
deliberately put there for you to encode and to stream from.
And then just leave it on there.
If
Alright,
you
now
are
I'm
running
taking a piece of wax
X264,
paper.
you are using CPU power instead of using the onboard chip that is NVENC on your NVIDIA graphics card. So essentially, if you've got an NVIDIA graphics card and you're still streaming from X264, you're essentially wasting that chip that is already integrated into your graphics card. Right, so that's that. Like I said, if you're using an NVIDIA graphics card, make sure that you are using NVENC new. And if you're still having stutter and lag, etc.,
Okay,
turn
so-
your bitrate down. So many
If you
people
look at your
start
wax
off and they
paper,
ram the bitrate through the roof without
it
doing the internet
has,
check. So you go on to
I know y'all aren't gonna believe this, but it's
speedtest.net and
got,
check what your upload speed is, and then you
line
work
to
out
it.
the average on your internet that you're
and
not
it goes the
using
way the
all
wax
of the
paper goes when you pull it off the
bandwidth,
roll.
and set
So
yourself
if you
a
want your
bitrate.
lines to go long
So
ways,
I'm on 18 to 20 upload and I'm using
you
5,000
might not see them, but
bitrate.
they're
You can
there.
use a bitrate
if
of
you
as
want them to
low
go long
as
ways, you would put your wax paper on
2,500.
like this. If you want them to go up and
By
down like
doing so,
this.
you will see.
It doesn't really matter
artifacting
today, but
if
in the
you're playing a
future, if you're
first-person
doing like
shooter, you'll see
cliffs and you want to
artifacting
use the
around
wax
gun
paper
and,
technique,
you know,
if
some
you were
little
being
bits of
doing big
blocky,
tall cliffs of
graphic
rocks, you would
because
want them to go
you're
long
using
ways.
Such a low bit rate.
You'll see what I mean
But
when we
if
get
that's all
done.
that you can
What did
use,
you
that's
do
all
with
that
the
you can
cellophane
use.
tape?
And then obviously
I think it's still on
the
there.
presets. On
So
the
for the
presets,
plastic
you want
wrap,
to
Oh,
be
plastic
using
wrap.
Yeah, you're gonna do your
what is good for your
variegated
computer
washes, and then
specs.
you're
You
just
know,
gonna
the
put your
higher up the
plastic wrap
list,
on and kind of
the
crinkle
less
it on there a little bit.
CPU
And
intensive
leave it there.
the
And leave it
profile
there.
will
Don't
be.
lift it up. Just
For
leave
me,
it there.
I run an i9 and a 1080 graphics card, so I
Okay,
can use
so-
low
But it shouldn't
latency.
be saturated.
You might not be able
I
to,
don't mind if it's
and
far too
don't
wet.
try.
It'll
you know,
wait till the shine starts to go.
Step by step. Put your stream onto private. Do a stream with
Alright,
the
so
top
I can't remember
preset.
if I crinkled up my
Go
wax
back,
paper or
review the
not. What do y'all
stream,
think?
and then check and go down the list until
I'm
you
crinkly.
get, you know, stream
So now
stuff,
you know where the lines are.
dropped frames, etc. Then you just back down by one step.
You do if you have
So
a
that's another easy
serrated
option.
edge or perfectly, yeah.
And also another thing
I don't know,
that
we'll
you
see.
guys probably didn't
We'll
know
see.
is if you open up, if you
Okay,
right click
so
on
lots
Streamlabs
of
OBS
yellow.
and you run this as an administrator,
Yellows.
that means
My
that
yellow's really
your
getting
computer
overpowered by
will
that
give
red.
Streamlabs priority over the CPU and the GPU power. When you open up a game, it's native for the PC to give your game as much CPU and as much GPU power as possible because it is a full screen application game. You know, so by you running
And I'm
Streamlabs
gonna
in
let that
administration mode,
blend together some.
your computer's going to go, okay, we're going to give as much CPU and GPU power to Streamlabs instead of giving it all to the game. Which then in turn means that Streamlabs won't drop so many frames. If you are still dropping frames, you need to go back to the steps that we spoke about before. But always open up Streamlabs
And then
in
I'm gonna put
administration
this
mode
on
so
here.
it knows, so the PC knows to give Streamlabs as much
Kinda stick it on there a
CPU
little
and
bit.
GPU input as possible. You might come down on your frames inside the game,
Leave it alone.
you know, so if you was, say for instance, running, I don't know, maybe 150 frames, you may come down to 100 frames, but so what? Long as you are not going under 30 frames in the game, and your stream is silky smooth, that
So,
is good. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm only getting these frames. I'm
my
only
other
getting these
6
frames.
circles are on the back
Doesn't
of
matter
this.
what frames you're getting in
Yeah,
the
we
game.
have to dry them.
As long as your stream is going out to the internet and is
So
as
we're gonna
smooth
have to
as
just
possible,
wait a few minutes.
what's
So
it matter
while
how
we're
many frames you're getting in the
waiting,
game? You
I
know,
will
the
tell y'all
gameplay's
what we're
smooth,
gonna
the
do.
stream is smooth. That
we're
is
gonna do a
all that
painting
matters.
with texture.
You know, people
So we're
go
gonna
on
set that aside to
and
let it dry
buy
for a
gaming
little while.
PCs because they want the best frame rate. But the only problem is when you are a PCs because they want the best frame rate. But the only problem is when you are a streamer, you have got to compromise your.
And I think I showed y'all
You've got to
this
compromise
last week.
between the
Can't
power
remember
going
if
all
I
to
showed
your
y'all. This is
game
the painting that we'll be
and split
doing.
that power between your streaming
The
source,
coffee cup.
which is obviously OBS
Maybe turn it
or
that way.
Streamlabs
Okay.
OBS.
Doesn't
and
really
your
matter
gameplay.
which
So
way you turn
need
it. It's gonna be
to
cool.
Share what you've got
So,
in your PC graphics wise and see.
Does everybody have an eighth of a sheet of paper?
No.
No. Who needs an eighth of a sheet?
We can do it on back or something.
That's up to you. We got 2 more projects. This is
This entrepreneur brand look.
I need it.